everyone. Welcome back to the Real Estate Growth Hackers Show. On today's episode, I've got Brian with Sisu here with us. We're going to be talking about how important it is for you to be tracking your numbers as a real estate agent so that you can take action on that. And really how to do that effectively, what's required in terms of your system, the information, and we're really going to be diving into the tool of Sisu and how it could make all that easier for you. So let's go ahead and dive into that.
You are listening to the Real Estate Growth Hackers Show.
Brian, welcome to the show. Excited to have you here. Go ahead and just let everybody know a little bit about who you are and maybe a bit about the history of Sisu.
Cool. Hey, Zach, thanks for having me on the show. I've always loved technology. When I got out of college, which has been a while now, the internet was just coming out, and I was actually at MCI, and we were kind of the backbone of the internet. So I've always played in the internet. I left MCI to start the first voice internet company. So what is voice internet? You and I talk to Alexa, Siri, and Google, right? All the time right now. And so that's what I'm talking about. We were doing that in wireless networks back then, turning 2G networks into 3G networks. But after that, I got into franchising. I owned HouseMaster Home Inspections, grew that from about 230 to 400 plus locations. And then I partnered with Budget Blinds, and I was doing some stuff with them. We rolled a couple business underneath them and sold it. And when that happened, that was kind of my entrance into real estate. My wife basically said, while you're figuring out what your next thing is, come help me build my real estate business. And so
Nice.
I agreed to do that. She had a small team of like 5 agents at the time. She now has a team of, about 30 agents and about 300 people in her organization. So anyway, when we did that, though, I hired a couple of coaches, and I knew, hey, I've got a short stint here. I need to learn in a few months what most people take years to learn. And so I found myself doing a lot of tracking, not just for myself, but she really wanted me to get her listing team up and going because she was really a buyer's team at the time. And so tracking numbers for myself, but also putting things in place for the team to track. And what we found was by actually setting up goals, letting people set their goals and holding them accountable to activities that will take to meet those goals, people were doubling their business.
Nice.
Which is phenomenal. Right now at Sisu, our average agent increases their business 28%. So not doubling their business at an agent level, but at a team level, our average team grows 107% year over year. So nice. So anyway, but that's kind of how Sisu got started. We started tracking on Spring's team. Then we rolled out the platform after the fact, really trying to eliminate duplicate data entry. We have so many people in this business all right, Zach. So I was saying, we have so many team owners today that they'll put everything into Google Sheets or Google Forms for their intake forms, or maybe Wufoo forms or something like that. But there's nothing you can really do with that data once you do that, right? So then they end up taking that, and they're like taking that data and they go put it into Trello or Monday.com. And once again, you're entering data into a place where you don't have reporting because it's not like a database that it's going to let you allow to filter and sort things out any way you want. And that's really the value of Sisu, being a centralized vendor spot that you can visualize, gamify, report on any data any way you want, eliminate duplicate data entry. And that's kind of how Sisu was born. So kind of a long start there, but anyway, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's a couple of things in there that I think are so important to pull out, for sake of the real estate agents listening to the show. It's a pretty understood principle, I think, by most people. And if not, then hey, you're going to learn it here. But that what you measure and what you track is what improves. And so what's so cool about Sisu is that I know a lot of people know that principle, right? They understand that principle. And yet the problem that comes into play is while you may know it's good, it's kind of like lots of things that we know are good in life. Do you actually have the time, willpower, or motivation to make it happen, right? Sure, great. Tracking and measuring these things is wonderful, but we're human, right? And so inevitably we end up running into problems where we forget, or the data gets messy, the data gets inconsistent. We're not always inputting it. We're not always doing it well. And what I love about Sisu is on the tracking side of things, especially, you guys have always done a really good job of making that as easy and like I would call as humanless as possible, right? Where it's the things that you're naturally going to do end up in the system, end up logged. So what I love about the overall shift and move that you guys have made, I mean, it's not a shift, it's more of an addition into adding in some of the some of the tracking of the forms and the consolidating of this data, is that it really builds upon kind of that original promise, the original idea of, yeah, you need to track, you need to have this stuff here to make your life easier, to make sure that you're measuring it and improving. But further, by bringing more of this data, more of these forms, more of this information into one place, you're getting that same benefit of being able to consolidate it and have good data that's actionable at every step of your business, not just tracking transactions and calls and not just tracking calls and appointments and deals manually, but actually being able to have that be top to bottom tracked and actionable. So it's really powerful, right? We know that we want to track. We know that that's powerful. We know that's going to help our business. And so we need tools like Sisu to make that easy, to make that effortless, so that it actually happens, because otherwise it's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's read, at least not everyone, but most people in the real estate business have read the 4 disciplines of execution.
Right.
4 disciplines of execution basically tells you to do exactly what Sisu empowers you to do. So if you have a real estate coach, they've probably made you read that book, because that's what's going to take your business to the next level. In other industries, people already know to do that. As far as, forms, Sisu's always had forms.
Right.
And the reason being, what most companies do that call them business intelligence platforms, right? Where, which we are, and then we're some on top of that. But what most business intelligence platforms do is they'll take your spreadsheets and they'll visualize those. And what we're doing is saying, hey, you know what? You shouldn't use spreadsheets or Google Forms or, that's not the way to manage your business. You need a database that you can basically put all your data into, and then you can do whatever with it you want to do.
Right.
And like you were saying, Zach, any information that you're doing in your CRM, if you're doing activities in your CRM, be it calls or setting appointments or anything like that, that data should automatically flow into Sisu. And then if you're using an e-signature platform on the back end, we should automatically push it into that, so that there's no duplicate entry, right?
Right. Yeah. And the reasons for avoiding the duplicate entry and like why that matters so much in your business, there's a couple of things that come to mind to me that stand out, right? There's the basic idea that I think everybody would understand of just saving the time, right? The manual effort of not having to do these things all of the, over and over. It's like we take it from here and then we move it here, and either having to pay a person, having to figure out extra software, or taking the time yourself, God forbid, to have to do some of that. But further, the one of the biggest things that I've learned in this, in this world of working with real estate agents is that anytime that a process has to be done by a human, there's failure points, right? And so for these mission critical, aspects of your business, they're like, you don't want it to rely on somebody remembering to take it from here and put it into there and then put it into there, right? You want it to be something that's just always done right, always done the right way, automated. And so there's a lot of power in building a system that that centralizes that information, puts it into a database, removes that duplicate entry and removes the human aspect of it. And it it's super powerful. Has that been one of the, the things that you've found is helping a lot of your clients at this point as well, removing that human aspect, or, being able to?
Definitely. I mean, from the beginning, we've had requests to do certain things, and that's kind of how we moved over into this project management. So many people in real estate were using Trello or Monday.com because everything else in this industry is linear, right? They don't show you board views. So people wanted that, and the data was already in our platform, so they wanted things to happen with that. But to your point, Zach, on these automations, I mean, let me give you just one example. So every time somebody goes under contract, and this is one of those human error things, right? The TC is supposed to take, for most teams, the TC is supposed to take that information from that intake form, right? And they're going to say, congratulations, we're under contract. They're going to put this email together. And that's going to go out to the agent. It's going to go out to the cooperating agent. It's going to go out to the mortgage company and the title company, and they're going to have to draft a little bit slightly different email for everybody, right?
Right.
Because they're going out to different people. But I remember seeing times when I was in the business where sometimes that email didn't go out for 4 days because someone forgot about it, right? And now, like, as soon as somebody goes under contract, all the data is in the platform. You have an automated email that's been pre-set up that says, congratulations, we're under contract. Here's all our reps. Here's all of our repsy deadlines. These are all the steps. These are the vendors. These are, here's everybody involved in this transaction. So it starts that collaboration of the transaction. So anyway, that's just an example of how we streamline and automate something.
Yeah, exactly. And it's an interesting thing because it's like a lot of people miss this element. It's not even necessarily like, shoot, if you're running your systems, using just your TC and they have to do everything manually, it may work 90% of the time, right? It may work most of the time. It's not like it's just something that doesn't ever work. It's just when you're dealing with these transactions and you're dealing with these, for some people, the biggest transaction they're ever going to do in their life, right? You want it to go right every time, right? You want it to work well, both for your business, for your clients. You want that experience to be perfect every time. And so removing that element where it's like, sometimes it fails because, we're human, right? Like you get sick, you have a bad day, something's off, that one day, and you make a mistake, right? We're human, we make mistakes. And so what's cool is by removing that element, you're really able to dial it up where it's nearly every single time you have it done the way that you would do it on your best day, not the way that you feel like doing it that day, right?
Yeah, I would add one thing to that too, Zach.
Right.
That's time it takes. Like just to pull all of that data out of a form, construct an email that has all of that data that you're sending out now, 4 different emails at least to 4 different people. How much time does that take? And I would argue probably 30 minutes, per transaction. So now if you're doing 50 transactions a month, just that one step alone, how much time did that save you? Just by having that one element, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people, forget to forget that ability, right? Because so let me put this in perspective. So one of the things that I've seen people resist when it comes to adopting new software or going down the path of trying something new, right? Like they got their system that works for them. They're like, hey, yeah, sure, I might be able to save some time, but it's 10 minutes, it's 20 minutes, right? Versus I have to go through this learning curve, right? And so I love the idea of talking about time as an investment, right? So like, what's the ROI on your time? Like you get into Sisu, you learn the software, you'll have a little bit of a learning curve. Anytime that there's something new, there's some level of learning curve there, right? And yet by automating these tasks, by automating these things, even if it's just shaving 10, 20, 30 minutes at a time, man, that compounds in the long run into hours and hours and hours where you could have you could get more done with less staff. You can have your staff be able to, to be drastically more effective. You can take cost savings because of the time and put that into those time compoundings. Like, we're talking, if a task takes you, let's say, 2 hours to figure out how to automate, right? And yet it's a task that gets done once a day and it takes 10 minutes. You're only, what is that, 2 weeks away from basically buying back your time, right? That time investment is paying off within 2 weeks. So anyway, it's really powerful when you start to when you just run the math and you think, okay, I'm going to save some time on this. What does that actually do? What does that actually do for my business? Because it adds up really quick. And I think it's one of those subtle things that people miss sometimes, is how big even those 10-minute savings can be in the long run.
Right.
Absolutely.
And obviously we're not trying to eliminate positions, but what we're doing is actually just speeding it up so that your TC, instead of handling 20 transactions a month, they're handling 50 to 100 transactions a month, so you're not constantly having to add
exactly
TCs. Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. And so before we hopped on this call, we had talked about some of the ideas of really some of the benefits of CISU in particular. So we've established so far, right, like the power of tracking, the importance of tracking, the difference that it'll make in your business, the power of centralizing your database, your information, so that you can create actionable automated results off of it, and have clean, clear understandings of your business. But what's cool is that CISU actually in particular has its own unique benefit that I don't see happening across any other company that I've encountered, which is that CISU is working with the best of the best, right? Like the top teams in the US use CISU because it's just the best tracking platform for real estate. And as a result, this venture into transaction management, into seeing how these things play out and what numbers do agents need to see, what needs to happen in their business. You guys are actually getting a front row seat to what the experts in the industry are wanting to see in their business, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, right? In fact, I got off a call with a coaching company today who was asking me, so what should the average conversion ratio be of like conversations to appointments set, right? Like,
right.
How do we know that? Show me what 10 teams that are doing over 100 million in volume, what those are doing. And so, he's like, do you have 10 teams that are doing over 100 million in volume? And we have over 1,000 teams now. And so, I had our team today run a report of all the teams that are doing over 100 million, which I don't even know the number, but it's extremely large, the number of teams doing over 100 million in volume.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing about real estate is changing. Those people who aren't adopting these things, these efficiencies, these just ways of leadership, right? It changes the culture of your business. If you set goals with your agents, if you hold them accountable to numbers and what they're doing for activities every one-on-one every week, right? Whether that's you doing that or your sales manager doing that, that's going to change your culture. You start having sales contests every month, gamification, that's going to change your culture. All these things just make you a better leader. And clear down to things like being able to make real-time decisions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, rather than once a month, right? If you can only make a decision once a month, that's the only time you look at your data, you can make 12 decisions a year that are going to impact your business. But if you can make a decision every day, think about the compounding effect of that, So it's totally different culture, totally different dynamic, just in running your business across the board.
Yeah, and further, the platform itself just continues to improve, right? As you're working with the top teams, you get to see like, hey, we need to track things this way, or we need to run this sequence, we need to do it that way, and those improvements roll right back into the platform. So what's cool about that is even if you're just, beginning in the industry. What's cool about what you guys have at play is with teams all across the nation, you guys are directly working with. You're getting to see, what do the top people need? What are they using? What are they implementing? What do we do to make this platform the perfect fit for the best of the best? And those improvements roll into the platform. And so, as agents come into the business and come into Sisu, you're getting the benefit of essentially having the tool that's kind of been molded and perfected by the top in the industry, without having to develop it yourself, right? It's just a benefit that rolls out to everybody who's using the platform. And that's not a common thing, right? Like, that's not something that all of these platforms are able to do, where there's that active feedback cycle of improving the platform with the top people in the industry.
Yeah, I would say, number one, Zach, that's a great point you point out. With a SaaS company, software as a service company like this, where you're just paying a leasing fee for the platform every month, there's a huge benefit, because any of our customers that come in and have great suggestions, we just rolled out some things around ISA reporting that, those came from our customers, right? Those are things that they wanted to make sure they could see everything around their ISA team on one page. Okay, great. Let us do that for you.
Right.
Another thing we're working on right now is we rolled out a communication platform about 90 days ago. So now you can communicate with your agents through our platform. Well, now you can also communicate with your loan officer and your title company through our platform. So now the next step is, okay, let's give your client a version of the app where they can come in and collaborate with you. They can see the documents, they can communicate with you through the app. They can see a timeline of where we're at in the progress, right? Here's the 43 things we're going to do to get your home sold. We're at number 28 right now, right? So just all those kinds of things like you're talking about, those are things that you're going to get to benefit from, because we're working to do those anyway, right? And when we're investing millions of dollars in developing every year, when you're paying a couple $100 a month for a software platform, is pretty cheap versus trying to go build something on your own. And we've replaced Salesforce. Number of teams that built Salesforce out where they'd spend over $1 million building out Salesforce. They were paying someone $100,000 a year to maintain it. Well, now they're paying Sisu like $500 a month, right?
Right. Well, and further, what's interesting is there are a lot of SaaS companies. Even there are a lot of SaaS companies that work with real estate agents, right? Yeah. And what I found most of them do is they end up just trying to attract a wide swath of agents, right? And they may be catering to the needs of, honestly, agents who are not always performing. What I like about what Sisu is honestly at its foundation, especially where you guys started, the people who use Sisu are the top of real estate agents, right? Like it's the best in the industry. The people who understand the importance of tracking, the people who understand how big of a difference that makes in your business. That's not every agent, right? Like, shoot, for the sake of the industry, I kind of wish it was, and for the sake of Sisu, I wish it was. But unfortunately, it's not, right? It's not everybody in the industry, and so by having that be like the group that's informing the development of the platform, you're not getting something average. You're getting something that is top tier and top class, because that's the people that are coming into this and influencing the direction and influencing what needs to happen. You're working with top tier high performers, and that's a very unique thing in the industry, honestly.
Yeah, so that's a huge benefit that we have. The other thing, probably our biggest strength, is being able to quickly develop. We have an agile development team. We push releases every 2 weeks. I think many of you guys have had software platforms in real estate that maybe push a release every 6 months. Definitely that's a big part of our, just our whole culture here, and listening to our customers. I mean, we have a vision of where this industry is going, but listening to our customers and being able to execute on that is is a key part of it. But one thing you said, Zach, you said, not everybody's on this. In my opinion, real estate is changing. Like, in 2 to 5 years, the dynamic of who's going to be successful in real estate is completely changing. And if you aren't on Sisu or something comparable, and right now there's not really something comparable, but there will be. If you're not using a platform like that to really manage your business, to manage your sales team, to manage your admin team, to put systems in place, to automate things, if you're not doing all of that, you probably won't be in business in 3 to 5 years, because that's where the industry's going. Right. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, we're seeing a massive amount of consolidation coming into play. I mean, I think in 2019 specifically, it was nearly $1 trillion, maybe more than $1 trillion invested into the real estate tech space specifically, and a good portion of that is in businesses that are essentially targeting replacing the real estate agent, right? And so yeah, I mean, what today's real estate agent is competing against is like Silicon Valley has put its sights on the real estate industry, and yeah, unless you start leveraging some of these tools that allow you to operate at that level, that allow you to implement consistent service, know how your numbers are performing, know where your transactions are when you're managing. You have to manage a lot of them, in order to to keep things running well. All of those tools coming together and making it easy. Yeah, you won't be able to compete. You won't be able to stay up with the pace of it. And shoot, those changes are coming regardless, right? We see it already with iBuyers, and shoot, with the shifts that that like Zillow and Redfin, and even some of the partnerships that like Realtor.com has in play, that what's available for the average real estate agent is shifting and changing away from what it has been, and being able to compete with those billion-dollar companies is definitely, you have to align yourself with tools and partners that have a vision to say, hey, we can up level you, we can help make you more effective so that you can effectively compete in this quick moving market, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's critical. And you said Silicon Valley. It's interesting, as you look at the tech industry, Silicon Valley has absolutely had a huge advantage in years past. But you see more and more of that now moving into these other hubs like Austin, Texas, right? You have a lot of them moving here to Utah, right? We have a Silicon Slopes here. You have just companies moving out of the Bay Area. And, it used to be you had to go to the Bay Area to raise money. That's not the case anymore either, right? So anyway, a lot of that world is evolving and changing as well.
Yeah. But I mean, regardless, the key idea is there is a lot of competition. There's more competition coming, and I'm not personally in like the doom and gloom for the real estate industry. I think most of what's happening is going to make it better for consumers, which is ultimately better for the industry. I do think that there are going to be less real estate agents overall, but that the real estate agents who do stay in the industry, who are able to stay afloat, are going to be able to service their customers at a really high level, with tools like Sisu that really do. They bring that benefit, but it does. It takes. I think we're shifting from what's the that's the word. We're shifting from real estate that has kind of operated as a bit of a cottage industry into needing agents who are thinking of it more as a business, real business systems. You're not just going to be able to do business just because you happen to be in the area. You have to have solid strategies for marketing and follow up and managing your business, servicing your business, and leveraging tools like Sisu is definitely the way to go to make sure that you stay effective. So awesome. I think we've covered a lot of really great information here. Some of the key takeaways to me: making sure that people are tracking their numbers, right? The importance of that, what you measure is definitely what grows and improves. But further, to make sure that that information is accurate, you need to have systems where that information is centralized, it's automated, you're removing as much of the human component as possible. Leverage, get the benefits of leveraging working with a company like Sisu, who is partnered with some of the top agents in the country, some of the top teams in the country, even better stated, and get the benefit of a company that has that really great synergistic cycle of that flow of information, adapting, improving from the best of the best. And yeah, put that to work in your business. Again, Brian, like you mentioned, if you're not using Sisu, you got to find something comparable to stay in business. And right now, the choices are lacking, right? It's basically Sisu or nothing else is doing anything similar to what you guys are doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have overlay in some areas, but overall, that's true statement.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's overlay, like you said, there's overlay in some areas, so you have to piece together 4 to 5 tools to do what Sisu could do. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of benefit there. Awesome. So if people want to check out more about what you guys are up to, there's a couple of different ways I know that they can get more information. We have a dedicated link if you'd like to show your support for the Real Estate Growth Hackers show. You can go to realestategrowthhackers.com/go/Sisu. That's SISU. You can also check these guys out directly at their website. Brian, where are the best places for people to go if they want to check you out?
So really, if you go to our website, which is sisu.co, that's sisu.co. Don't put an M on the end because that won't help you find us. So sisu.co will get you there. There's a place there where you can go in and look at pricing, or you can request a demo. My suggestion is request a demo. It's free. You can learn about the software, and best way to check us out would be that.
Awesome. Yeah. And as somebody who works with many people in the industry, I send all of my clients to Sisu to make sure that they're getting that tracking, getting that part of their business taken care of. It's so important. Everything else that you might do, generating leads, running your business, if you don't have clarity on those numbers, you're just doomed to be on a hamster wheel of inefficiency, right? So you gotta make sure that you're tracking those numbers. It's hard without a tool that makes it easy for you. Sisu makes that easy. Leverage that as a starting point, honestly, and start looking at bringing more of your systems in there. Transaction management, they're doing really cool things in the industry. I definitely highly recommend that you guys check out Sisu. Again, if you'd like to show your support for the show, realestategrowthhackers.com/go/Sisu. That will take you to the Sisu website as well. And then otherwise, anything that you'd like to leave people with, Brian, parting words of wisdom?
Yeah, no, I mean, my thought is this industry is moving to teams very quickly. So individual agents, they need to be able to generate their own leads, or they won't be around. I think that the traditional brokerage, you need to run your business like a team, where you're providing leads, you're doing the transaction management, you're holding people accountable, you're doing all the things that a business leader does, because that's what you need to do to run a successful real estate business today. And that's why some of these teams are just growing at some of these such high levels of growth year over year.
Absolutely. Yep. Great thoughts. Thanks so much for coming on today, Brian. It was a wonderful conversation. Always enjoy hearing about what you guys are doing at Sisu. We'll have to have you back on. It sounds like with your development cycle, probably in a couple of weeks, you'll have just some amazing features to talk about, right? So
we will, but we'll give you a little bit more time than that.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks so much. Thanks everyone for tuning in again to the Real Estate Growth Hackers show, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Growth Hackers show. Remember, done is better than perfect. To turn the marketing ideas and tactics you just learned into real growth for your real estate business, visit us at realestategrowthhackers.com. If you like this episode, consider sharing it with another real estate professional who could benefit from the information. Or maybe you'd like to subscribe to the show to never miss an episode. You can leave a rating or review on iTunes with your biggest takeaway, helping this show to reach and help more people just like you. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.